The 2018 Pokemon World Championships. We are in the midst of our final match of the day. It is semifinal number 2. Robin Schulz taking on Klive Junji. And apologies for some of the audio issues that we have been experiencing, but we are going to jump right into the middle of game number 1 here. It is Robin on the Zoroark Garbodor build, and then Klive with his Rogue Zygarde Lycanroc deck. He had a bit of a tough start to this game, but it's looking like he might be able to pull this one back. And joining me on the desk, we have Kyle Sukovich. How you holding up, Kyle?
Pretty good. This is getting off to a fast start. Robin was able to go first, got that turn 1 Bridget, and so far he got a knockout on a Rockruff, but Klive was able to respond with that Zygarde GX, the unusual Zygarde GX build we've been seeing from him this weekend. It is very, very potent against Zoroark GX, but he was a little bit short of the knockout. So just had to go with the cell connector. Didn't quite hit for a knockout, but now that Zygarde's got a scary amount of energy on it.
That it does. And once Zygarde gets going, it can be difficult for the opponent to shut it down, especially when that opponent is a Zoroark that has a fighting type weakness. And Zygarde having that grass weakness does give it a reasonably good typing in the meta right now.
Yeah, definitely. We have the Zoroark Garbodor deck. It's kind of built with Buzzwole in mind, right? You have Zoroark GX, which is weak to fighting type Pokemon, and the main counter is Buzzwole GX. And you play that Trashalanche Garbodor as a way to counter those fighting Pokemon, but when you throw Zygarde into the mix, then it throws everything off. It's weak to grass. It has 200 HP. It is very difficult to deal with, and even a Trashalanche typically isn't enough, at least not until you get to 9 or 10 item cards in the discard pile. So I think overall Zygarde is a slightly worse version of the Buzzwole decks, but the different weakness puts it in an interesting position in terms of metagame and in matchups, and we see it has taken Klive to the top 4 already.
Maybe not as effective against the field as a Buzzwole deck necessarily would be, but it can certainly get off to a faster start, can be taking knockouts against Zoroark as early as turn 2. And even a cell connector on that first available attacking turn can knock out important basic Pokemon like Zorua, like Trubbish. You do have the damage modifiers of both Regirock and Diancie in the build, as well as, I believe, a pair of strong energy. So Zygarde gets there. He gets the job done.
And we see the Scorched Earth, a stadium card we don't see a whole lot of, and he actually draws into that double colorless energy. That's going to allow him to go for the Verdict GX if he wants to. If he can find Diancie Prism Star or a Choice Band, he can Verdict GX for the knockout and become immune to opposing Pokemon GX on the next turn. Of course, Robin does have non-GX attackers in his deck with those Trashalanche Garbodor, so he won't be completely safe, but it's a pretty big swing in the game when you can pull it off.
And this is with a relatively slower start from Klive.
Yeah, his
Still
first
managing
turn
to...
was not anything special.
No. Started with a Rockruff in the active, had the Zygarde on the bench, but had to manually attach a couple of times there to actually get it to having Landsrath available as an attack, but he's managed to pull it back a little bit here. However, with 3 Zoroarks online for Robin, that's just an ample amount of trades, and the resources are going to be heavily in favor of Robin for the remainder of this game.
Yeah, and we see Robin very intelligently using Tapu Lele GX as one of his main attackers in this matchup. Zygarde actually matches up very awkwardly against Tapu Lele GX because when you use Cell Connector, you don't have an option. You have to take the fighting energy out of your discard pile and attach them to Zygarde, and that just fuels Tapu Lele's energy drive attack. So you can run into awkward situations sometimes where Cell Connector isn't even worth doing the 50 damage because you're just going to get knocked out on the next turn.
That Tapu Lele is exactly what Robin needs to be able to shore up this game. Ideally, you get the Tapu Lele into the active and use it to take the knockout on that first Zygarde. If that is done, then if Klive hasn't been able to load up energy onto a benched Zygarde or get a Lycanroc GX online, then it can take some time to get that second attacker going. So if Klive's forced to take a turn or two off from attacking, then that's when Robin can really capitalize on that weakness.
Yep, and there we do see Cell Connector hitting for 50 damage, and looks like a Field Blower to go with it, discarding the Float Stone off of Tapu Lele GX. But 50, and yes, Klive has to take the fighting energy out of the discard pile. Now this energy drive is already hitting for 100, and if Robin can find another energy card or just a choice band, he can get a knockout with energy drive and take a 3-prize lead already.
That's a substantial lead for Robin here off of the back of what is known to be primarily a support Pokemon, but Tapu Lele GX is so much more than that. Very flexible, and in this matchup is actually the ideal attacker in the early stages.
Yeah, Zoroark GX does not match up well against Zygarde with the weakness to fighting. Zygarde makes short work of Zoroark, so you're better off keeping it on the bench, safe from Zygarde, and then throwing out Tapu Lele GX to attack in the early going. Typically with Zoroark GX decks, the longer you have Zoroark in play, the better it is. You get to trade every turn, you get to pile all the resources into your hand, and right now, Robin is doing pretty much everything he wants.
Scorched Earth and a Buzzwole taken off of the field as Parallel City comes into play. Klive does have 2 Scorched Earth and 2 Brooklet Hill in his build of a Zygarde GX. It is a little bit different than what we're used to seeing. However, if he does have some fighting energy trapped in hand and maybe does not have that Oranguru online, he can utilize the Scorched Earth to draw into some additional resources. This is not a list that is playing Remoraid and Octillery.
Yep, so there we do see second double colorless energy on Tapu Lele GX. That is going to be a knockout. And as you see, Robin has his prize cards face up. Earlier in the game, he used that card Town Map that turns all your prize cards face up. That is a card that Robin and his brother Philip love to play. It's one of their trademarks.
Reducing all amount of variance that you possibly can.
Yep.
And it's actually worked out very well for him. I mean, he's playing to be in the finals of the 2018 World Championships. We've seen that town map now come into play several times. And I believe in his match in the quarterfinals, he was able to use it to grab a Tapu Lele and get a very crucial Wonder Tag for a supporter.
So here we do see Klive has the double colorless energy on his Zygarde GX. And it looks like he's going to Ultra Ball, going for probably Lycanroc GX on this turn. Looks like he'll go after a Zygarde GX on the bench. The problem he has here is he's going to have to use Cell Connector. And again, that means he has to take 2 fighting energy from the discard pile. That's going to put him up to 4. That means there's 8 between Zygarde and Tapu Lele. So another double colorless energy means a 200 damage energy drive.
And Zygarde has only 200 hit points, so that would be a 1-hit knockout from a Tapu. This is not, I'm sure, what Klive imagined this matchup would look like, as traditionally it does favor him, I would say. Zygarde has such a nice tight matchup against the Zoroark, but Klive's start was just much too clunky.
Yeah, Zygarde matches up well in terms of type, but it certainly can fall behind. If you miss just 1 or 2 turns of knockouts, it can really start to spiral out of control, especially if you can't get those turns where you go double colorless, choice band, and you have the Diancie, Prism Star, and Regirock on your bench. Then you can get the Cell Connector for the 1-hit knockout. But whenever you have to get a 2-hit knockout, it doesn't feel as good.
These decks are very, very different. They're on opposite sides of the spectrum when it comes to their goals. Zoroark is about consistency. It's a slow burn. It wants to just reduce as much variance as it possibly can in this game. But Zygarde wants to capitalize on that variance and try and have the best possible start that it possibly can. It has a massive, massive ceiling for amount of damage that you can do very early on, but I'd say maybe half the time you just don't get the start that you need.
Yeah, it happens. He's got a lot of moving pieces, and sometimes you just can't pull them together. And also, this is a very aggressive deck, and that means you need to be attacking in the early portions of the game. If you ever miss a beat, that gives more of the controlling decks like Zoroark bigger advantage and a chance to catch up. But there we do see the third double colorless energy going on to Tapu Lele GX. 3 of his 4 double colorless energy all stacked on Tapu Lele GX, and this brings back memories of that old Mewtwo EX with X-Ball. Just pile the energy as high as you can and go for big knockouts.
This is a rare sight, especially for this deck. Certainly not what you would expect to see going into a Zoroark matchup, but it is paying off in spades for Robin here. And Robin, of course, an incredibly experienced player, a veteran when it comes to the Pokemon TCG, whereas Klive, this is his first World Championships. He came into day 1, hoping that he could make day 2, but honestly, not expecting all that much. He brought Zygarde, which is his favorite deck to play, a comfort pick of his, and he just wanted to have a good time. Made it to day 2 and is now fighting for his opportunity to be in the World Championship Finals as a first-year qualifier. That's an incredible storyline. Clive's got an entire fan base, and it's only been like 4 hours since he first played on stream.
Hey, he's got a good attitude. He's playing a fun deck. What's not to like? And of course, we're 2 of the biggest Zygarde fans around, so we're not rooting against him. Let's say that.
There's about 4 Zygarde fans, I would say, in the building during the day, and we are 2 of them.
Yep. But unfortunately for Zygarde, it looks like Robin is running away with this game with that third double colorless energy on Tapu Lele GX. He will be able to energy drive for 200 damage and get the knockout going down to 1 prize card. And he's got the Trashalanche Garbodor set up and ready to go on the bench. So as long as there are enough item cards in Clive's discard pile, Robin can convincingly close out this first game on the next turn.
Just not even very close at all. The prize cards would suggest that Klive is not all that far behind, but he has been on the back foot this entire game, never able to catch up.
That's it. Robin takes game number 1.
In a quick and convincing fashion, Tapu Lele GX putting the deck on their shoulders and just carrying them across the finish line here in game number 1. But that's exactly what this deck needs to do in this matchup. Tapu Lele GX has incredible potential. If you can stack a couple of double colorless energy on it, Zygarde is forced to have multiple energy on it at any time if it wants to succeed, and it's going to do it early.
There's a reason Tapu Lele GX is in pretty much every deck in every format. Wonder Tag is an incredible consistency booster. Anytime you have a card like Ultra Ball or Mysterious Treasure, it can turn into a supporter card thanks to Tapu Lele's Wonder Tag ability. And then every once in a while you just go, oh, I can put double colorless energy on here and attack with it. And as we saw there, if it goes unchecked, it actually does a lot of damage, especially against things like Zygarde GX that need 4 energy to use their big attacks.
It's just one of those Pokemon that seems like it can do it all.
Yeah, it just did.
Point. Good point. All right, well, game number 1 very convincingly in Robin's favor. We are going to be getting into game number 2 here. Can Klive mount a comeback and continue his run for the World Championship Finals, or will it be the veteran Robin Schulz wrapping this one up in 2 games and going to the World Championship Finals himself?
Double Zoroark GX in the prize cards for Robin in the second game. Regirock EX in the prizes for Klive and both of his Brooklet Hill. So the rough prize cards for both players to start this off, and not a great starting Pokemon for Klive either. Diancie Prism Star.
You need to get that out of the active ASAP.
Yeah.
He would much rather have access to the Diancie than the Regirock. Diancie strictly adds more damage to your attacking fighting types than the Regirock EX, but having that Diancie in the active means it is vulnerable. It is difficult to get it out of the active, so you're looking for Floatstone, you're looking for Guzma here, and all importantly, something else to put in that active spot, namely Zygarde.
Yeah, and not a great start, just plays Cynthia. No cards played before that, nothing like an Ultra Ball or a Stadium card to help him out. So he's going to be looking for, well, exactly that. There is Zygarde EX coming down, and Klive has to decide if he wants to attach this double colorless energy. It's a bit of a risk because Robin does play Enhanced Hammer. Klive saw it in the first game. His double colorless got Enhanced Hammered on a crucial turn, And he also plays that Kartana GX, which can slice off the double colorless. So, yeah, Klive actually saying, nope, I'm just going to play a basic fighting energy and pass the turn.
I think it just feels too bad to play the double colorless and have it
Town
taken
map.
off.
Town map has been played, rendering our prize camera useless.
Hey, we had Prize Cam 2.0.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
There, Robin and Klive can see the bad news. Hey, there's 2 Zoroark GX prized. That is part of what can backfire with Town Map. Sometimes you reveal information to your opponent about what's in there, and they go, oh, you don't have that card. Well, now I can play differently.
That means I don't have to worry about that card.
Yep. So I'm sure Klive is going to take in that information. I don't think it'll really impact the way he's going to approach this game. He's really got one mode, and that is Smash with Zygarde.
There really isn't much that the Zygarde deck can do to deviate from its traditional game plan.
Not
I
much
mean, you have a
subtlety.
couple of powerful attackers, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. No subtle plans, no fancy stuff. Just load up Zygarde and launch big attacks.
We can't really stall with one prize attackers. We don't really have any of them.
Yep. And it's got 200 HP.
That's some good.
Yeah.
Is that the highest HP for a basic GX?
Oh, no. There's a Wishy-Washy GX.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
That's what, like
210?
210? Okay.
Yeah. And then there's the old Wailord EX with 250.
I've heard stories about that card.
We don't have to go there.
I mean, I didn't live through it. I don't have it.
I would rather
The
not.
adverse
I would rather
reaction.
not relive it.
That's fair.
So Robin has a terrible start. He did play an N. He did not get Bridget. And all he did was play down a Tapu Lele GX with a Zorua in the active. Klive Ultra Balls away 2 fighting energy. And that is going to signal bad news for Robin. He's got to think, uh-oh, Cell Connector is coming my way.
That's dangerous business. If Klive can get the knockout here onto the Zorua, that will leave Robin with only that Tapu Lele GX. And it, you know what? It pulled its weight in the last game, but Robin is not off to nearly as good of a start. He doesn't have those supporting Zoroarks. 2 of them are in his prize cards.
So it looks like game number 2 is going to be a much different story here. As long as Klive can find a Float Stone and an Energy, we're going to see a Cell Connector knocking out the only Zorua in play for Robin. Much different than what we saw last game where he had multiple Zoroark GX in play on the second turn. And there is the Float Stone. We're going to see an Instruct for 2 cards. We see a Strong Energy as well.
Wow. And the double colorless still in hand, so that's going to be a Land's Wrath available or a Verdict GX for Klive next turn if he wants to attach. But no, he's going to Sycamore away that double colorless actually and go for a fresh 7.
Yeah, because there's 2 fighting in the discard, there is no advantage to attaching the double colorless. You might as well attach the Strong. If your opponent has an Enhanced Hammer, they're going to get rid of your special energy anyway. You'll be left with 3 energy. And if you have double colorless, well, then your opponent gets to energy drive for more damage.
Max Elixir succeeds. A fighting energy going onto that benched Rockruff and prepping for an eventual Lycanroc if it's necessary.
Yeah, this is where you want to be when you're playing this Zygarde Lycanroc deck. You max Elixir onto the Rockruff, you Cell Connector for a knockout, and charge up Zygarde GX. Look at that. Now it's got 4 energy on it, and next turn he can... Oh, is it only 3?
Yeah, I think there's only the 1 in the discard. But, I mean, that's fine. It's very
Oh, there's
likely that
4.
Klive...
There's 4.
Oh, it's hiding.
That's some sloppy attachment, Klive.
We
Come
were
on.
bamboozled. Well, I was. Nothing new there.
All right, so Robin does get the Bridget on this turn. He's going to be able to set up the Zorua, but is it too late? Clyde already has 4 energy on Zygarde GX. Rockruff with an energy, ready to evolve into Lycanroc GX. And this deck does play double colorless, so you have the threat of Claw Slash with Lycanroc GX with just 2 energy attachments. Right now he is in a dominant position, and Robin's going to need to play a perfect game from here to pull this one out.
Even Klive's 2 potential liabilities, Pokemon that could be brought up and potentially trapped in the active, have those float stones on them. So that's going to be demanding a field blower from Robin for that stall plan to even be a dream.
Okay, Robin does play the Kartana GX, so slices off that strong energy And we're going to see the energy drive for 100 damage. This is what Robin needs to do to stay in this game. If Clyde can find an energy and a choice band, he can simply Land's Wrath for the knockout thanks to Diancie Prism Star. Otherwise, he might have to burn up his GX attack, which he almost certainly does not want to do.
You do want to save it for that perfect moment because it prevents all damage onto the Zygarde the next turn from opposing GX and EX Pokemon. It can be difficult to know when that perfect moment is.
Yeah, definitely. I think if he had a choice, he would certainly use Land's Wrath here. Looks like he has an awkward hand, though. He's got a double colorless energy. Looks like it's going onto the Rockruff.
Okay.
And he might be going for a dangerous Rogue GX here. Going after, looks like a Zorua. He could just evolve into Lycanroc GX, bring Tapu Lele back out, and then Dangerous Rogue for the knockout if he feels like that is the bigger threat. Otherwise, we might just see him Claw Slash and take away one of the Zorua on Robin's side.
Tapu Lele did single-handedly get Robin his prizes in the last game, so it looks like Clive is going to prioritize that knockout instead of taking a knockout on a Zorua.
Oh yeah, Clive wants to get this game over with as fast as he can. Dangerous Rogue GX takes out Tapu Lele, and Clive is down to 3 prize cards at this point. And he's still got a pretty intimidating board. He has eliminated all of Robin's energy. He's got the Lycanroc fully powered, ready to Claw Slash any Zoroark GX that come in the way. And if something were to happen to it, he still has Zygarde on the bench with 3 energy. He's in an excellent spot, and it's going to take a ton from Robin to even have a chance to put up with this.
And you know what? I like that knockout even more from Clive, knowing that he knows that there are still 2 Zoroark prized for Robin. So knocking out that Zorua, there's a small chance that Robin has that Zoroark because there's only 2 left in his deck.
Yeah, that is a fair point. Robin going to play down Parallel City and simply Cynthia here. It's only getting 6 cards. It is unlikely that he pulls off a big combination here.
It would need to be something just shy of a miracle.
Yeah, I think the number 1 card he wants to see is Enhanced Hammer, so he could discard the double colorless from the Lycanroc GX. And of course, he wants to see a couple Zoroark GX so he can start to trade and draw some more cards. So that's what the Pokemon trading card game is all about, drawing as many cards as you can. But Robin does not have Zoroark GX.
Nope. No, he does not.
He does not have energy cards either.
Does have Field Blower. That doesn't do anything. He has Mysterious Treasure to find Garbodor, but that doesn't do anything without any energy cards. So between a rock and a hard place here for Robin, a very different scenario than he found himself in last game with a dominant victory as a result of that Tapu Lele GX and stacking some double colorless energy onto it. But Clive got off to a much better start here. And now Robin's the one that's been on the back foot the entire time. Looks like we might be going to game number 3.
He is indeed between a Lycanroc and a hard place.
Yes, he is, Kyle.
Oh, Robin, yeah, he just has nothing going on here. The only good news for him is that Kartana GX has 170 HP, and the Clive has already used his GX attack, so it's going to take a decent amount to knock out this Kartana. Choice Band and Energy onto Zygarde will do it and put Clive down to 1 prize.
And
yeah,
he's
looks like
got
that's what he's going for.
And energy.
4 different basic energy in different directions.
It's a hodgepodge of stuff. Words are escaping me at this point. I'm still kind of in disbelief that we're seeing Zygarde in the top 4 of the 2018 Pokemon World Championships. And the winner of this match, of course, going on to play against Malamar.
Indeed. I thought you were going to say still speechless because of how terrible my pun was, but that is more understandable.
It's late, so I am cutting you some slack. And also I made a horrible pun about Trainer Wolf yesterday, and then the audio cut out for about 10 minutes. So I'm just sort of assuming that nobody can hear us right now. Anyway, if the trend is continuing.
Yeah,
As soon as you said Lycanroc, and it just went out.
That's fair. But we do see Land's Wrath from Zygarde GX going to get the knockout, and now Klive has a 5 prize card lead. I've seen some pretty big comebacks in my day, and it is certainly possible, but boy, it's going to take a lot.
It would take absolutely everything going perfectly for Robin and perfectly wrong for Klive. There's just so much time that Klive has to get this last knockout.
All right,
and
so
realistically, this is going to be game very soon.
Oh, Robin's going to give himself the best chance possible. So he puts the Float Stone on Trubbish, grabs Tapu Lele GX, and then plays End. Klive is going to go down to a single card in his hand. So if Robin can get a Garbotoxin Garbodor and a double colorless energy, he can take away the Orangaru's Instruct and then Energy Drive for a knockout. And then Klive won't have an immediate response with a knockout. The absolute perfect scenario is that Robin also finds an Enhanced Hammer to discard the double colorless off the bench Lycanroc, but that is a lot to ask. He does find most of it, though, and 2 Evo Soda.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so that can be the Garbotoxin Garbodor and a Zoroark.
He can get 2 Zoroark GX out here and trade twice. If he finds Enhanced Hammer, all of a sudden, Robin is going to be in firm control of this game. He could even grab Rescue Stretcher to get back his Kartana GX.
Oh, that's a good point. Then you use the ability to get rid of a special energy on your opponent's side of the board. Then that double colorless is gone.
Yeah, this is not over. That was an incredible 6-card N from Robin. Oh boy. If he draws an Enhanced Hammer off of these trades, we might be seeing a 6-1 comeback here. He finds one Puzzle of Time. A second one will get back the Kartana.
That would be just an absolutely incredible comeback. There's that Rescue Stretcher for the Kartana.
Oh, my goodness.
Could the impossible be possible? Robin Schulz, a 5 prize card deficit. It looked like this game was over, but with an incredible 6 cards off of N. Now he suddenly has a very realistic shot at winning this game.
Yeah, Klive is probably wondering what in the world is going on. His opponent did nothing for multiple turns, and all of a sudden, he has multiple Zoroark GX, Garbotoxin. He has found himself with a 1-card hand. He doesn't have any attackers powered up anymore. His Zygarde is knocked out.
And
Robin might be taking control of this game.
I would say he's in control of this game. Now, how can Klive secure this win here? There is still a Trubbish and that Garbodor on the bench for Robin. If Klive can find a double colorless and a way to bring one of those up.
He finds a double colorless energy. He can Claw Slash, putting pressure onto Robin here.
All right, so it's not enough to win the game just yet, but at least it allows for an attack this turn. Of course, that Instructability is turned off because of Garbotoxin, so no additional card draw for Klive. Still going to desperately be looking for a draw supporter off the top of the deck.
Yeah, Robin taking a look to see how many item cards are in his opponent's discard pile. I mean, if there are 9 in there, he can get a Choice Band and Trashalanche for the knockout here, taking out the only threat on Klive's board. So he's going to play that Mysterious Treasure and perhaps go for it. Even if it's not a knockout, he can Trashalanche for maybe 100 damage or so. And with Garbotoxin in effect, the Diancie Prism Stars, Princess's Cheers will not be adding the 20 damage. So Lycanroc can't even Claw Slash to knock out a Garbodor here.
Oh, geez.
I think Robin is one step closer here to advancing to the finals.
Okay, well, if Klive is able to find a strong energy, that would put the Claw Slash in range of knocking out that Garbodor. Does only play 2 in the deck.
Klive has to top deck...
Sycamore into stuff.
I think he has to top deck a Field Blower and then Instruct into perfect cards.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
sure.
all.
You know what? Just do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's Worlds, right? Just do it.
Robin was in just about the worst possible position he could have been in. And he needed to end into the perfect cards, and he did it.
Yeah.
Who's to say that Klive can't do the same here? And
I
importantly, he's got a little bit of time. Robin still needs to take 4 prizes.
Yeah, but not much. Here comes
Nope.
Trashalanche. That is doing 140 damage. Oh,
Okay.
my goodness, what does Klive draw for the turn?
Such as a basic fighting energy. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so you need 3 energy on Oranguru to use Psychic. We attach a fighting, and we hope for the double colorless. If he has any left, that's the game plan.
Yeah, the problem is, well, I guess that's really all he can do.
He's got Max Elixir as well.
Yeah, that's his only out, attached to Oranguru, and hope that he can top deck double colorless to Psychic for the knockout. Robin can thwart this a little bit if he finds a float stone and then double colorless energy and just attacks with Zoroark GX. But yeah, what else can you do?
Well, Klive acknowledges that's his only chance at closing out this game on the next turn. It's a puzzle of time. That's a double puzzle of time in hand. 2 cards from the discard. Anything that Robin could possibly want.
Yeah, sorry, and I forgot that Klive was at 1 prize card. Top decking Field Blower would have just been game over. Then his Claw Slash would have done 130. Top decking Strong
because of
Energy.
Princess's Cheers.
Strong Energy also would have been game over, so Robin probably breathing in a sigh of relief that he made it through the turn. And now that he has to know he's in a dominant position. He can knock out this Lycanroc GX, take away the only attacker on the board, and that makes it so that there is no single card that Klive could top deck to win this game. A double colorless energy wouldn't do it because he can retreat into his Zoroark. A Guzma won't do it because he doesn't have anything to attack with. And Robin Schulz might move on to the finals by 10 hit points.
Okay. If Klive top decks the Field Blower, takes the tool off of the Garbodor, instructs into Sycamore.
Yep.
And then Sycamore's 4.
Floatstone, double colorless energy, Zygarde, Regirock, Choice Band.
There you go.
Yep.
Okay.
As long as his Regirock isn't still prized.
Now that would be unfortunate.
Yes, it would be.
That would be the kicker now, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm. So we do see exactly what Robin is doing here. Riot is beating for the knockout. He is now down to 2 prize cards. Klive draws a Scorched Earth. He's going to draw 2 cards.
What are they? It's a Sycamore!
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, I'm calm.
So this...
I've bought into the Klive mentality a little bit.
He also plays 1 Buzzwole GX. So if he can find a Floatstone, Buzzwole, and Fighting Energy...
Jet Punch for the victory.
He can Jet Punch for the win.
Is that an Ultra Ball in hand? I don't think he has any energy.
Oh, man.
Wait.
No Floatstone.
There's a Max Elixir, I want to say.
Indeed. He has Ultra Ball, Max Elixir, but no Floatstone. And he's already played a Stadium card for the turn, so he cannot play the Brooklet Hill. I still think he should just
close, Klive.
play as many cards as he can. You got to think after that, Robin for sure is slamming down an N. He's making sure Clyde only has 1 card to work with.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
So Clive should clearly play Ultra Ball here just to get cards out of his hand that he doesn't want to draw off of this N. The question is, what does he grab? At this point, Trashalanche has to be doing at least 200 damage. So you don't want to put down any Pokemon GX. You don't want to give Robin an opportunity to actually win the game next turn.
He discarded his single copy of non-GX Buzzwole early on when Parallel City was played. He had it on the bench.
Okay.
I don't think he has any non-GX options left in the deck.
Okay. Well, in that case, he's just going to grab a Pokemon and put it into his hand. Oh, his Buzzwole is in the discard pile as well. Buzzwole GX.
Oh, you are right. Really not a lot of options left.
He does play 1 Rescue Stretcher, so If he were able to draw that, he could get back the Buzzwole GX. I'm just looking through his options here. The Regirock was in the deck as well. Probably just take a Pokemon, put it into his hand, and pass the turn. I don't think he can afford to bench a Pokemon GX here. This game is down to the wire. Robin was down 5 prize cards here against a seemingly insurmountable board and has now put himself in a position to win. But Klive, he's making this exciting for us.
This is so close here. Robin Schulz absolutely deserves to be in the World Championship Finals, but Klive had so much heart.
He can bench the Rockruff safely. It only gives up 1 prize card. And I have a feeling that next turn we're going to see an N to 1 card, and Klive's going to have 1 more shot to win this game. It is important to note that Robin does not play any healing cards in his deck. There are no max potions. There are no Acerola in his deck. So if Klive is able to get back that Buzzwole GX, he can win this game. And now Robin is just doing everything he can to lock up the game. He can ride his beating here for the knockout on this Diancie Prism Star. He can put a unit energy onto Kartana GX and say, hey, next turn I have the Blade GX for the win.
The Blade GX for the win to secure the World Championship Finals spot. Now that would be incredible to see here. And this has been just an amazing game for Robin Schulz to be able to come back from a 5 prize card deficit, put himself in a commanding spot with a beautiful end to 6. And now it is all going to come down to this. Klive is going to draw 1 single card off of this N. Can he possibly find what he needs to take this to Game 3, or is Robin Schulz going to be facing off against Jeff Kolenk for the World Championship title?
Do you believe in miracles, Cora?
I do believe in miracles.
All right, we'll see if Klive can pull one off here. Now that he is reset to a random 1-card hand, he could draw double colorless energy and Guzma. And there we see the knockout.
Yep.
Oh, Diancie Prism Star's knockout. Klive has to promote a new Pokemon.
Yes.
He drew his card for the turn.
Oh.
I don't think it matters. It doesn't look like his top deck is any good. And Klive
the handshake.
Extends the hand, and Robin Schulz with a 5 prize card comeback advances to the finals here at the 2018 World Championships. We will see him tomorrow playing against Jeff and his Malamar deck. What an unbelievable comeback.
That was an absolutely incredible showing from Robin Schulz. Congratulations, of course, go out to Klive for making it to the World Championship semifinals in his first ever Worlds appearance. But Robin Schulz is going to the World Championship finals, and it will be him or Jeff Kolenk who will be